Well, hello, everyone. I'm Annie Dickerson, and on behalf of the entire Goodegg Investments team, I wanted to welcome you to this very special episode of the Life and Money Show, the show where we talk about everything from investing to financial freedom to parenting, traveling, creating a life by design, and everything in between. Now, I'm here today not only with one co-host, but two. That's right, you get all three of us. I have Susan Elliott here, as well as the wonderful Julie Lamb, who's back for this very special episode. Ladies, how are you?
Doing great this morning.
Yeah, doing good. Excited to be here. Thank you for accommodating and moving our recording date, because I know we were supposed to record the other day, but life has a way.
Life happens.
Yeah,
all sorts of things
busy.
come up.
Well, it's a really special thing to be in the room with both of you ladies, be in the virtual room at least, but to have this space where we get to reflect on your journeys as passive real estate investors over the last 200 episodes, but even a little bit beyond that, because this is the 200th episode of the Life and Money Show. So today we're just really excited to have, the honored guest, but also co-host Julie Lamb back on the show today to dive in deep into like the roots of where we are and why we're here as Goodegg, but also as passive investors. So today's going to be a really fun time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so how has both of your lives evolved, from the beginning of your real estate investing journey, and maybe like, what are the initial benefits of passive investing that you expected, but then how has that evolved as well over time?
I don't even know where to start. My life now looks so different. First of all, my kids are older, so that's really nice. So Julie mentioned her kids are 8 to 12 at this point. My kids are actually around the same. So my older one is 11, my younger one is 7. And I think they were 4 and 1 when we started down this path. So very different life, very different world, day to day. But, I think because as Julie mentioned, business is a spiritual game. And when I signed up to launch this business with Julie, I was never like, oh, this is going to help me personally. I was like, I just want to do this for other people. You know how as you're like, when I was in my 20s, my big goal was like, I'm going to do something to help others because they need my help. I'm good. Let me help other people. And I think through this journey, through the passive investing, as well as through the business, it's really helped me to realize, no, the real work is here with me. And if I can make myself the best version of me that I can be, that's how I'm going to have the greatest impact on all those around me. And so that, I think, is a big gift, kind of in a roundabout way, of passive investing, because it's helped me to take a little bit of the pressure off of how much am I making? Do we have enough for this next vacation? What's the college fund look like? All of this stuff, because I know I can take my foot off the gas a little bit, knowing that I have multiple streams of passive income coming in. So my focus is no longer on, okay, how much are we making? Do we have enough? Are we contributing enough? Are we doing all these things? It's broadened so that I have the space to think about, okay, well, where's the me in this equation? And as my kids are getting older, I have a little more space to think about that and think about what my own passions are and what I want to contribute. And so that's what I would say is that, passive investing and this business have really given me the space to breathe and really, I hate to say it, get out of the rat race, as they say, and really have that space to think about what I want to do and how I want to contribute.
Yeah, I would say that for me, passive investing initially when I got into it, it's kind of along the same lines as what you were saying earlier, Annie. Like, it was like, because it continues that path of like, get a job, buy a house, make lots of money, retire. And along that journey, enjoy yourself, stay in the penthouse suite, drive the nice car, like do all that stuff. And what I've realized is we did all of that. Like we did all of that. And I would sit in like this really nice hotel room overlooking, like you said, an ocean or whatever the view was. And inside I was feeling empty. And it was like, why like, it's like that nagging feeling, you're like, but I did all the things.
Yeah. And then you feel worse because here you are complaining about first world problems. You're like, I'm sitting in this beautiful place.
It cost you all this money.
Yep.
And you're like, and then in the back of my head, I'm like, is there, and this is how it started, like, is there something else that I could have put this money towards that would fill my cup? And that started me on a different journey. So when I got into it, it was about time. Everything was, I need more time. Kids, I had, 3 kids, 5, 6 and under, three kids, 6 and under. And I was like, I just need more time. That's why I did it. Time and money. That's it. Give me the money so I can get more time. And as the years went on and I got more time and I got more money and I'm like, okay, this is great, but why am I still feeling this sense of emptiness? And so for me, how it's evolved is no longer about the time and the money. And this is what I think, Annie, what you're alluding to as well, is that for me, it has now become about finding ways to fulfill my life and find satisfaction and find impact and find meaning and that's what this is all about. Cause it's like, okay, we've got the time thing done. Like we built this company, we've got the time and we have the money, but now it's like this, how do I take this to the next level? And for me, that's how it's evolved is I get up every day and I get to hang out with you ladies and we get to do our banter in our Slack channels and our jokes with our team. And at the same time, I get to do what I love to do and what I'm great at. And for me, that's what passive investing has done for me over the time that I started, is about filling my cup. And I can honestly say that my cup is so full right now. And I'm so honored and grateful to sit next to you two ladies and everyone else on our team and all of our investors and have the chance to be who I am and feel like I'm contributing. And at the end of the day, that's what I was after in the first place. I just didn't know it, So, yeah.
Well, what about the next 200 episodes, ladies? Like, what's the vision ahead? What's the next 20 years of Goodegg and the Life and Money Show?
I think a lot of what we started out, and some of our newer listeners might not know this, but when we started out this show back in 2020, the name of this show was actually Investing for Good. That's a big part of why we launched Goodegg Investments, and still is a big part of our mission and vision to this day, is not just investing, but doing it in a way that it pays it forward and has an impact. And so early on, a lot of the conversations were about the money part of the equation. How do we invest? What do we invest in? Where do we invest? How do we start a business? All of these things. And as we've evolved the podcast and changed the name to the Life and Money Show, we've started to bring in those conversations about the life aspect. Susan, you and I recently did a series on life by design. And that's a huge part of the ongoing conversation. So I think as the podcast continues to evolve, I think that life by design aspect will be a huge part of what we weave in together with the money aspect, because as we said, it's a tool to help you get to your ideal life. But to bring in those stories and those examples of people who are truly, as Julie and I just talked about, who feel like their cup is full and who feel like they've found their meaning and their higher purpose and feel fulfilled every day that they do whatever they're doing. And that could look like a lot of different things. And so I'm excited as we continue on this journey to have more of those conversations and to spotlight people who are really walking the talk and have found that thing for them.
I think for me, what my vision would be for this podcast is, I think, Susan, you mentioned it earlier, listening to podcasts is a way to learn. And when I first got into real estate investing as a career, I was commuting 2 to 3 hours a day on the road, and I turned my car into the podcast library time. And that's when I was
podcast university.
Yeah, it was. It was. I listened to everything from Grant Cardone, Sell or Be Sold, which I still love to this day, to all of the Bigger Pockets episodes, to some of my mentors, podcasts, to people who are now our partners that we've worked with. And so my vision for this podcast is that we be a partner for all of you who are listening today in some form or fashion, whether it's, a partner in business where we can talk about business ideas, or a partner in life where we can talk about life by design stuff, or your partner in money where we talk about what money means and what do we do with it after we get it and those kinds of things. But that would be my vision. And I would hope that for many of you up to this date, through the 200th episode, that maybe perhaps we've already done that to a certain degree, and that we can continue to do that as time goes on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I love that like mini call to action there too. And that to remember that, these podcasts are there's just people behind them. And those people, if they have a podcast show out there like us, I know we're all willing to kind of bring people into the community and make it more of a personal connection. It sometimes, being on this end of it, it does feel like, is there anybody out there who's listening here? Like, come on in. I wish we could just be at an in-person meetup. Or so every time we talk about, joining us in some way, especially in physical form, but even in, Zoom pop-ins, that kind of thing, it brings so much more depth and meaning for all of us, not just for you, not just for the person joining in who maybe is starting out, but for us as well. So this is definitely a more fun when we're doing it together. I like that. That's the foundation of the Life and Money Show.